Hi, welcome to Alex Shares Knowledge. Thanks for checking out this video. So the topic of my short video today is Western Bee Shamanism is basically nonsense. So I'm labeling this little phenomenon that I came across recently as Western Neo Bee Shamanism, and I'll explain how I came across this. A good friend of mine knows that I'm really into beekeeping, and I have here this is an example of pure, raw, natural honey. I have family members who are beekeepers, amateur beekeepers, and they have the good fortune of having enough land to have multiple bee colonies set up right now. And they've been doing this for a few years, and they're getting much better at it and learning about bees. And so I have the opportunity to learn about bees and beekeeping through them. And I also am fascinated by non-honeybees too, and I write about that in other projects that I do. So bees in general are something that I'm really just fascinated by, and especially honeybees. So a friend gifted me 2 books recently, and this one was excellent. It's The Sacred Bee in Ancient Times and Folklore. And the woman who wrote this did a really good job of just being kind of like an objective historian, and in the sense of just providing, each chapter covers the way that all these cultures, starting with the ancient Egyptians, much earlier than that, but in the book just showing that from the earliest times, and in ancient Egypt, Sumeria, Babylonian, Assyria, India, China, all these cultures have been extremely influenced by bees, have venerated honeybees, have highly valued honey, and their folklore has been really influenced by it. So this is a really, really good book, and I'm going to put it in my favorite book collection shelf. This one was also interesting in a different way. The Shamanic Way of the Bee, by Ancient Wisdom and Healing Practices of the Bee Masters, Simon Butxon. I could make a whole nother video about honey and its healing properties and how medicinal it is, in addition to being delicious and all these other things. It's valuable for so many reasons, but I got this and I started reading it, and I thought it was interesting because I do have another interest in shamanism in general, consciousness studies, and beekeeping, and European history. So I'm all these different interests that would make me interested in something like this. So I started reading it, and I started to become skeptical of it. He's basically like a male, trying to be a male feminist, and I went online recently. This book was written in, it was first published, let me check here, I think in 2010, no, 2004, and the first paperback edition was 2006. It won it was the winner of the 2005 Ashe Journal Book Award. So then I went online, and I Googled bee shamanism, and this article popped up, and it was addressing the controversy, and it's told by a woman who says that she was studying with Simon Butxon from 2010 up until 2019, and basically explains how there's this controversy because he was caught basically first plagiarizing large chunks of this book, and then just admitting to basically fabricating most of it. So basically he's a fraud. And then this woman is on her website sort of addressing the fact that she's part of a group of women who are into bee shamanism, and they've all been taught that it's part of the sacred lineage, and basically the whole lineage goes back to Simon Butxon, who is a fraud. So the whole thing is basically a fraud thing. But on this woman's website, she also has an apprenticeship and classes that she teaches and stuff. And so I was looking at, she teaches 10-month programs. This big controversy just broke last year in 2023, by the way. So for a decade, 2 decades, this guy has been influencing this cult, I would say. You can check out this website, honeybeewild.com, for yourself and check it out. But basically, it has all the symptoms of, I'll call it symptoms of being a cult. The woman teaches breath work and talks about bee folklore, and then combines it with a bunch of neo-shamanistic ideas. So I would take everything that you read or see from people claiming to be any type of Western bee shamans in this case they claim that he claimed that his sacred bee lineage was a Lithuanian thing, that was an underground knowledge form of shamanism, and blah blah blah. So actually Europe honeybees are indigenous to Europe, and there is a huge history of indigenous European folklore and history all around honeybees, and there is a lot to go on. So there's not to say that if you're into European history and stuff, definitely, you know, study this stuff, but take everything that this modern day type of bee shamanism, take all of it with a grain of salt, because I think it's mostly gibberish. And the funny thing is, I was looking through the stuff how I could, because I have access to honeybee farming and I know a lot about the folklore now, and I know about meditation and dream interpretation and Jungian psychology and breath exercises like the Wim Hof technique. If I wanted to make up a cult about, and because I look like this, and if I wanted to make up like a cult around ancient German bee shamanism and how I'm like the inheritor of this lineage and stuff, I truly believe I could like get a cult going and get a bunch of like people paying me money to teach them about whatever, you know. So I can see why some people might be appealed, you know, might be it might have already occurred to some people to do that. Funny thing about that Wim Hof, I'm gonna do another separate video about him, but I do his a modified version of like what he marketed as a method. I like cold exposure. I have another video about that. I did the Wim Hof challenge and read all his books and stuff, and I do breathing exercises. Like he's basically teaching a modified version of tumo breathing, and there is value in it as a form of exercise. However, his stuff is he's got kind of a cult going too with his foundation. I can make another video about that. And he is a weird narcissist, and I know on the surface he's very charismatic and I liked him for a long time, but there's a whole lot to unpack with him as well. So a lot of this stuff, there seems to be a theme of like meditation and breath work that goes with a lot of like this spiritual modern bullshit. And I was also going to mention on that point, like a lot of my other videos that talk about idealism, because I think the materialist paradigm is inadequate for explaining a lot of reality. But for a lot of people, that leaves the door open. And I'm very critical of organized religion, so this leaves the door open for other kinds of crap that a lot of people can be exposed to, like New Age scams. New Age scams are everywhere, and they're just as toxic as organized religion. And so I'm very open-minded, and I do think that consciousness is some sort of more fundamental property of the universe rather than an epiphenomenon of it. So I take a lot of this stuff like I'll read it with an open mind, and I really am always I think there is a lot of legitimate shamanism in certain parts of the world that has something going on that's really worth studying. But a lot of this New Age stuff is absolute crap. So I think that the best way to study consciousness and approach that kind of stuff is analytical philosophy and subjective experiment. So like learn how to meditate and learn how to do breathing exercises, but be very weary of anyone charging money for any kind of ancient wisdom or charismatic leaders that don't have any like real substance to what they say. Also, if you can get real raw honey, unpasteurized honey, not like the stuff you buy in like a Billy Bee bottle in the grocery store, if you can get your hands on this stuff, this is like extremely delicious and valuable and healthy. One of the few ways that they can have a natural sweetener for things in ancient times. There's ancient cave art depicting both some sort of creatures that have mushrooms growing out of them that seem to be large bees. So, and other ancient, the oldest cultures have art depicting ancient beekeeping. So it's something that's been a part of human culture since probably before we had any of our modern culture anyway, way before we were literate or anything or had language. So it's just really interesting to study that, and there's a lot it's worth studying honeybees and learning about them. And also, not everyone's blessed with the opportunity with the land to be able to maintain honeybees, but if you do have the resources and you're not keeping them, then you're kind of foolish because they're so valuable. And if you're into prepping or anything like that, or something that would be valuable as the economy is getting worse and worse. So if you can produce your own honey, it's just a really valuable resource. So anyway, wanted to make this interesting video today and just talk about this concept of Western modern bee shamanism, and just tell you that you should take it with a grain of salt, and definitely take anything that this Simon Butxon guy has ever written with a huge grain of salt. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like my content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.